It's been a while, and I'm so honored to be here today to speak to the team and hopefully inspire them. So let me share my screen. I can remember the morning meetings are boxed at 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me not, I have a lot to say. I mean, 12, almost 30 slides, but hopefully I'll be able to cover it in time for questions. Okay, so today I'll be talking on my experience in the Plenipotent company and what I learned and how it shaped the um, my current career. So what I'll be talking on is small actions, big impact, and how to achieve rapid career growth by being diligent in little things. Are you guys ready? Can I start?
Yes, please.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So introduction, I'm Tochukwu. I think when 2021, I discovered Tochi was easier for lots of people to call. So I just started using it as my first name. So currently I'm the co-founder of School.io, a senior cloud architect at Talent of Africa, and also a software developer at Illuminem. Forget all these big things. It's the story that you would see how it all started. So this is the summary of what I'm about to say. He who is faithful in a very little thing is also faithful in much. And he who is unrighteous in a very little thing is also unrighteous in much. It's gotten from the Holy Bible. That should be in Luke. I couldn't find a more apt quotation to summarize the topic. I'm sorry, someone's mic is unmuted. Okay, that's fine. All right. So where it all began, that's September 2019, graduated from University of Nigeria, Nsukka, more confused than I looked. Forget I was smiling. I did not even know what was going to happen. The oil industries were sacking people who were looking for what to do. And I mean, there was really nothing I could think of. I had to go back to Port Harcourt, where I grew up, to um, try to figure out what I would do with myself. Then it came, I think I applied for this either 2020, 2019 or so. And by 2020, early 2020, I got the acceptance into the virtual internship program. And I had two assessments to complete. One, I should write my obituary and significant professional accomplishments. I mean, I, those were, to me at that time, those were really weird. I've never ever thought about myself writing my obituary, but all the same, I did it and I got in. And I would like to say it was the start of everything that I'm about to explain and narrate in the course of this session. So when I got in, my first task was this. That time we used Slack. I mean, you probably still use Slack. And at that time we had Olaido. This should be, Olaidozen should be, um, yeah, I think I I know him. I can't remember his first name now. This Olaido.
Williams Oladele.
Williams, yeah. I don't know why he was using this name. It always confused me. We had Williams, we had Faith, we had Remy, we had Deborah, and Abdullah. I don't know if I knew him really well at that time. Yeah. So Williams was my sorry, Williams was my supervisor at that time. So the first task was to transcribe I think for quantum leap series. I think so. So we had lots of audio files that we asked to transcribe. I was like, wow. I did not even know what to transcribe was at first. Remember, I had just finished mechanical engineering, 5 years, coming out. I didn't even know what to do with myself. And now saying I should transcribe audio files. I said, no problem. I started typing. You put earpiece, listen to it, you type, 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 type. My God, it was something else. I now started looking for online tools on how to make the job easier because my main aim was, this is my first task. I cannot shy away from it. I cannot run from it. And I have to do this. This was March 19th. I entered February. And between that time, I think we had an orientation session where we asked to go through some courses and all that. So this was the time I was having my first task. So by the special grace of God, I was able to submit my transcription. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was done. Done, done for me at that time was better than perfect. So, however, I knew that if I continue doing transcription for a long time, I may grow old very fast. So I was looking for a way out, and I saw a new task, which was a promotional graphic for the Business Mastery Club titled Answers for Your Business. So I now said, okay, this is a lot easier than transcription. And since I'm trying to learn graphics really well, let me volunteer to do this task. But unfortunately, it's like it's not only me that didn't like transcription, lots of other people didn't like it. So even if this task was heavily contested, so we had Deborah, Aisha, I think Abdullah too wanted to do this task. So we were all, it was like a competition to see who would be able to do it. So I did the task, and it turned out my own was really good. So it was chosen as what was pushed forward as the promotional graphic. I would have shown the final output, but I lost my other laptop, so that had the final output. It really pained me that I couldn't find it. But that all the same, I found my forte, which was design. So over the course of my internship, I worked on several designs for the Business Mastery Club, for books. This was one I did for Stay Safe and Stay Ready. I think it's probably published by now. I'm not sure. This was one I did for Firstborn Prayer Watch um, by Wunola Aditayo. I think I also designed for Yes to 30. I did the content calendar. So we had this spreadsheet where you pick your tasks, and sorry, is there any question or background noise? Okay. Yeah. So we had this spreadsheet where you go pick tasks, and most of the tasks assigned to me were now design tasks, and I was doing it, getting feedback. I can remember one of the feedbacks was like, well, something I put in this book. I also edited the book too. She said that she didn't like the fingernails on the picture I used. I'm like, wow, that level of attention to detail is really interesting. And I didn't even notice that the fingernails had any issue because it was an image I got from the internet. So this honed my skills, and I was getting quite good at design. However, over time, I wanted a newer challenge. So this project came along, Star Spark project, and that was my first web development task. So there was the design, and it was put in the team group who wants to take it up, and I decided to take it up. They had the logo already done, they had some design assets, they needed a website. So I had to go and design the website first on Photoshop to the best of my ability, then now start building the website. Okay. So, and this was the project that got me introduced to tech, and I was done with it. So this was the final output at that time, and it was with WordPress I designed the website. So I had no real production experience with WordPress before. Mr. Philip taught us everything. He had some courses on Teachable that time. We had access to the courses and learning resources for free. and I was able to use it to design this. I didn't even know how the WordPress database looked like that comes as a .sql file, talk less of how to load it. So I was able to put everything together and not just design a file using templates. This was like no templates, just Elementor and the initial Photoshop UI I saw earlier. So this was how my tech journey really started. So I was into digital technology in a plenipotent company through expressing it through graphics, ebook publishing, but I had not done a full-blown like web dev project. So this was the first one. And remember this because this is really important in the story I would tell. Okay, so I now saw that I actually liked this and I zoned in down on it, gave it my best, started researching more, started volunteering for more tasks, started reading more. I think I enrolled in a boot camp at some point to teach me more of how to do this. And what were the results? I was also able to work on the creator project. I mean, I enjoyed this project so much. I don't know if it eventually pulled through, that yeah, that it had to enter my Behance design. So because I knew design and web dev, the project was like a full suite. You start from designing of logo to developing the website. And this was the logo I came up with for the entire project. And usually, I think to be able to show different options. Oh, okay. I didn't know the Oh, okay. I even forgot the link. Well, it's still up. Thank God the website is still up till now. So yeah, this was the first, yeah, a project I really enjoyed working on too. So I did that, and also the website. You can check out the website too. So this was the branding of the project. Then let me go back to my slide. Then the next one I worked on was Engage a Child project. I don't know if this is still live. So I had already, you can see the transition for the first UI I did. This is how it looked. I mean, you can see it probably was not perfect to the other ones I now did. So you can see there was a huge transitioning and growth. That's the where learning, self-development, study, and being willing to accept feedback came into play. So I mean, there are things I'll do. They'll tell me they can't even read the text. If I'm defensive as a creative person, you say, "What do you mean you cannot read it? What do you mean you cannot read it? Can't you read it? You go and show your friend." No, accept feedback. They cannot read it if they cannot read it. Change it, make it bigger. Don't be too caught up in your own design. So that way I was able to learn and get better. And yeah, this was the new designs that I was now doing for the web. Okay. So even during this time, because I had honed my skills to a large extent, I also um, got into other freelance projects. This one was for a shoe packaging company. Yeah, Cypher. I wanted to do something different to make people, once they see the shoe on the shoe shelf, they will buy it. And I brought up a brand for guys and a brand for girls. And yeah, it was an interesting project on a freelance note. And yeah, so I had already honed my skills at TPCL. I couldn't do any of this um, before. Okay, so I wasn't this detailed, I wasn't this um, articulate in presenting my design. So these are all the things I learned how to do through accepting feedback and through studying the resources had available. Okay, so let's go back to the timeline. So this was an important part of my life. That's why I had to talk about it too. Someone is trying to say something. Okay, all right, let's go on. So it was mid 2021 and things got really tight. So I couldn't really function effectively as a full-time team member at CPCL. So I had to, will I say, step back from heavy operations, have more like freelance attachments to it. Um, because of, I mean, things just happened at that moment. And it was fine. Mr. Philip really understood and he encouraged me to do it, even more than I thought. He encouraged me, gave me all the necessary encouragement, support, and advice. And yes, I wasn't a full-time team member anymore after all the notable projects I worked on. Then I saw a message from him one day. I should check out this opportunity. Does it do I like it and all that? I didn't really know what it was about. I don't even know if Mr. Philip too knew the details of what it was about because it was like the maiden edition by Stanbic IBTC. They hadn't done it before. So I just applied, wrote 2 stages of exam. I got in and it was great. Also, coincidentally, because I had entered the Stanbic IBTC program and started learning, I saw another similar program that was offering the same cloud scholarship. Then I also got into it. So I was running 2 cloud engineering scholarships at the same time. So at this point in time, at this point of sending this, my net worth was like 10,000 naira a month. No, 20,000 naira a month because that was I was getting money from Stanbic IBTC. They were paying us 10K stipend and school.io. They were paying 10K too for learning. So I mean I had detached from the main TPCL team, so I wasn't on a regular stipend anymore. So this was how I kept on learning 2021. Then 2022, I think things started to break or light started coming into the tunnel. So because of my performance throughout the program, during the learning stage of the program, I was teaching others because I was also learning at Stanbic IBTC. So I knew more than the people in the second program. So I was teaching them, organizing classes. So the owner of the thing now said he wants to take it to the next level. This was also their maiden edition, the first one I was attending. And they now said they want to now become a company on their own. They got funding to run the maiden edition, but now they wanted to have a team and build that program, not just a program now, as a company. So he now gave me an offer to become a co-founder and also lead the tech team. So no, he gave me an offer to build a website for them. But when I started building it, he saw the way I worked and I was skilled in a lot of things. I was skilled in graphic design, UI, UX. I knew the Google Suite. I knew coding at that point. So I mean, he said there was no other place he would have put me that would have fully utilized my abilities. So he just pushed me to management level and made me like the co-founder and tech lead. Also, in the Stanbic IBTC program, I was invited by the senior staff, like the management, to speak at the second edition alongside Microsoft, people from Microsoft, AWS, and others. So I was almost like the most successful student in the Stanbic IBTC program too. So the aluminum company I got into earlier, that was, I think I made reference to it when I left the nest. At that time we didn't even have money. If they told me that they would pay me in shares, I didn't believe them, but I still kept on doing it because in TPCL, we don't really focus on money at the first time. We focus on, that as a plenipotent, during the internship, you focus on value and what you can learn. So I came into Illuminem. At that time, they didn't have anything. So 2022, they got funded and are now valued at 10 million euros. They put all their engineering staff on salary at that time, and we're getting paid in euros at that time. So, yeah, I also got an offer from Deloitte as a cybersecurity engineer because I had learned cloud engineering at Stanbic IBT. During the interview, they kept on asking, so what did you do at that Stanbic program? What did you do at that? So I was now explaining it. They now said, I hope you're not still with Stanbic IBT. I said, no, the program has ended. But unfortunately, I didn't go with the Deloitte offer. I also got an offer from Access Bank too, into their graduate training program too, but I didn't still go with it. Why? These two jobs required me to come to the office. And since 2019, when I graduated from school, I've never come to any office any day for any work because I wasn't used to it. So right from my first internship at Plenipotent company was fully virtual. And is someone speaking? So right from my first role, it was fully virtual, and till today, it's like almost a deal breaker in taking a new opportunity. So the offer from Deloitte was not virtual. I have to come to their office at Victoria Island. That's why part of why I said no, that I'm not taking it. Access Bank too, I'm not taking it. So yeah, I was also invited to speak at a Microsoft-sponsored event. That's at their towers, Ikoyi, Microsoft Towers at Ikoyi. And everything started looking better. So 2023 was another interesting year because I kept on learning, building myself. So from the Stanbic program too, a senior officer at AWS saw my performance and I was recommended by the team. And I was requested to be featured on their own learning and training and certification portal to show my progress in cloud. Remember, I entered cloud from Stanbic at late 2021, and by 2022, I'm already like an official or like management level in working with cloud services, AWS cloud services. So my story was featured, and I think it's also in publication now. Then I got the offer to be a leading cloud engineer at Talent Up Africa too. So in all these stories that I had to rush through, what did I learn? You can only connect the dots looking backwards. This was a saying in one of our meetings in one of our early meetings at TPCL. I think I heard this from Mr. Philip first, before I even heard that Steve Jobs said it later on. So to me, it was him that said it. Honestly, I think it was recently, this year, that I later learned that it was Steve Jobs that also said it. But looking back now, I can connect the dots, and it all traces back to my first role at TPCL. Well, this guy you see here could have had a different career path if I didn't get this offer at first from the Plenipotent company. So that would be it from me. It's an encouragement to any task you have, do it and do it well. If you're not putting effort into the little things, you will never be able to put effort into the big things. So it is not about money. It is about the impact you can achieve on any task you are given. Any task you are given, do it to the best of your ability. You don't know where it will lead you in the next 2 years. Thank you so much. Any question? How did I do? I think I was well within the time. All right. Any questions?
That was a fantastic one, Tochukwu. Thank you very much. Okay, just a comment before we go to the questions. Now, like, see the way you were just showing all of the offers you turned down and all of that. So it's what I've always said, that there are just a lot of opportunities. There are much more opportunities than the people available to take them. Now, these are job offers that people are going to jump at. Like Deloitte is inviting you. Imagine that. Then access, I'm not taking it. Why? Because I can't be coming to the office because we have options. Your very first experience showed you. I remember during the when you were giving your final feedback there, you said you never knew that the company could run remotely. So your very first experience showed you that that was possible. So you wouldn't take anything less. Okay, so that is the idea. And just like you said, what you are working on, whatever you are working on, is also working on you. Now, you had no experience with all of these things before. You have no transcription. Okay, somebody is let me mute everybody. You can unmute yourself if you don't have noise in your background. You had no interest in transcription. It was heavy work for you. You said something I'm trying to remember that you said you knew you were going to get old very fast if you continue. That's just like you had no interest in it. But because that was what was on the table, you gave it your best, you did it. You didn't recognize it then, but you were learning a lot. You were learning to stay on the task. You were learning to be diligent. You were learning to keep your word. Okay, I will do this and then I get it done, whether it's convenient or not. And all of these things are skills that are rare in the world of work now. So if you are going to get a job, if you are going to progress in your career, if you are going to build a successful business, we've always emphasized it. It's not about your technical skill. Now, all of those other people that also took the Stanbic program and all of that, they had technical skills also. So, but these little things, this disposition to work, creating value, knowing that if you indeed are creating value, money will not be a problem. If you are not making the kind of money you should be making, then you are not creating the kind of value you should be creating. So it's important to plug yourself into a context where you can learn all of that. And just like you said, we're not even trying to keep people. We just want to help people grow. We want to create opportunities for people to develop their capacity. If you decide like, oh, sorry, okay, I think I want to check out, we'll give you all of the support. The Stanbic IBTC program, he didn't know about it. I forwarded the information to him, and all of that. So I'm just saying that, it's kind of surprising when you are giving people opportunities and they don't take it. But again, it's not everybody that will see what you are seeing. Even Jesus Christ, when he came, they said he was the devil, they said all sorts of things. But the few people, so that's why the Bible says that for as many as received him, he gave them power to become. So that is it. So you are going to be presented with opportunities. You can receive those opportunities and get the power to become, or you can, pass them up, and you take a different trajectory. Okay, thank you very much once again, Tochukwu. So do we have any questions, comments? Just raise your hand, or you can type yes. If you have a question, just type yes in the chat. If you have questions, comments, just type yes in the chat so that we know how many people have questions. Okay, Tolu Lokbe has raised her hand, so at least that means we have at least a question. Okay, so we're going to end this session now because we like to separate the presentation from the questions and answers. So we end this session now. Just join immediately. If you have questions or you want to be part of the question and answer session, just join immediately using the same link. Okay, join immediately using the same link. We're going to wait for 1 minute or two for everybody to rejoin. Okay, well, thank you, Bolu. I can see your comments in the chat. Even though you didn't stay for so long, you said you got value. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so I will end this now, then just rejoin for the question and answer session. And Bolu, maybe you should also prepare to have a presentation during the next cohort of our apprenticeship program. Okay, so let's just rejoin with the same link, and then we take the questions and answers.